And that would be a nightmare. Democracy, gone. That's what I think will happen with the Kamala presidency. Mark my words. And if there's any election in their lifetime that they're going to vote, they should vote in this one. This one, it really is a big deal.
The genius of Elon Musk, Trump declared, is a force no one can match. And tonight, his vision aligns with the destiny of this nation.
Let me tell you, we have a new star. A star is born, Elon. Now he is. Now he's an amazing guy. We were sitting together tonight. You know, he spent 2 weeks in Philadelphia and different parts of Pennsylvania campaigning. You know, he sent the rocket up 2 weeks ago, and I saw that rocket, and I saw it coming down. I saw it. When it left, it was beautiful, shiny white. When it came down, it didn't look so pretty. It was going 10,000 miles an hour, and it was burning like hell. I said, what happened to your paint job? He said, we've never made a paint that could withstand that kind of heat. And but I saw it come down and turn around. And it was, you know, it's like 22 stories tall, by the way. It looks a little smaller than that, but it's big. And it came down, and you saw that fire burning. And I'm saying, only Elon can do this. It must be an Elon.
Elon Musk, ever the oracle of innovation, described this election as a fork in the road of destiny, urging us to choose wisely as the future hangs in the balance.
I mean, the reason that I'm doing this is because I really think we're at a fork in the road of destiny, and this election is an absolutely crucial one. I have not been politically active before, and I'm politically active now because every instinct that I have tells me that this is a fork in the road of destiny.
Behind closed doors, Elon and Trump have already spoken of monumental reform, plotting a vision to reshape the very fabric of government.
I've had many conversations with President Trump, who is very much aligned in thinking that we need significant government reform. We need to get the government out of people's lives, really, and have America be the land of liberty, which is that is what has made America great. Is the land of liberty and opportunity. You know, so you maximize people's personal freedom, and we make sure that getting ahead is a function of hard work and talent, and you know, an honest day's work. That's really what should get people ahead, and that's the only thing.
The greatest manipulation in media, as Elon warns, isn't in the lies they tell, but in the stories they choose not to tell.
The biggest point of manipulation that occurs in the media is not when the media says something that's false or misleading, but because they do that, but their choice of narrative. What are they going to talk about? Is that's by choosing to focus on one thing and not focus on another thing, that they're sort of steering what information the public receives. Whereas I think the right thing is that the narratives that are important should be the narratives that the people as a whole think are important, not what a few media oligarchs think is important. It's worth reiterating why I'm supporting Donald Trump for president. And you know, there's I think important things that need to happen. I mean, I think we essentially want the sensible basic things. We want safe cities. We want secure borders. We want obviously support for the Constitution. We want, I think, a less government sort of overreach, and you know, I think we want to restore freedom to the people. You know, so that your individual liberties are prized, and you get to do what you want to do, and you're not sort of overregulated to, which is kind of what's happening. You know, it's sort of shocking, but I think there's something like 428 federal agencies. That's almost 2 agencies per year since the founding of the country, and more being created. And so I call this like sort of strangulation by overregulation, and this is crazy. So I think with the Trump presidency, we have a real opportunity to reduce the size of government, to have a sensible regulation, and really free the American people to do what they want to do.
Trump showered praise on Elon, stating that only a mind like Musk's could tackle the challenges that lie ahead.
And it was a beautiful thing to see. And I called Elon. I said, Elon, was that you? He said, yes, it was. I said, who else can do that? Can Russia do it? No. Can China do it? No. Can the United States do it other than you? No. Nobody can do that. I said, that's why I love you, Elon. That's great. And you know, when we had the tragic Hurricane Helene, and it hit North Carolina, they were really devastated. The water, this was a big water, as big as we've ever seen, water hurricane. It built lakes out of nothing. Fields became lakes, and the danger was unbelievable. And the people from North Carolina came to me and they said, would it be possible, at all possible, for you to speak to Elon Musk? We need Starlink. I said, what's Starlink? It's a form of communication. So I called Elon, and I'll tell you what, he had, and it was very dangerous. They had no communication. All the wires were down. I called Elon Musk. I said, Elon, you have something called Starlink. Is that right? Yes, I do. What the hell is it? He said, it's a communication system that's very good. I said, Elon, they need it really, really badly in North Carolina. Can you get it? He had that there so fast. It was incredible. And it was great. It saved a lot of lives. He saved a lot of lives. But he's a character. He's a special guy. He's a super genius. We have to protect our geniuses. We don't have that many of them.
Tucker Carlson, stunned and almost giddy, marveled at Trump's decisive victory, calling it a mandate from the people to restore greatness.
I would not have predicted that at all. That Donald Trump would not only win, but win decisively with a mandate, the majority of the popular vote. The first Republican to do that other than the post 9/11 election in 40 years. So I'm still trying to figure out exactly what it meant, but I mean, big picture, it means that the current way of doing things has been decisively rejected, most notably by young people. Mm-hmm. So when was the last election where Republicans won young people?
Yeah.
I mean, really? You always think of your blue-haired daughter lecturing you about, no, your blue-haired daughter voted for Trump, which is kind of wild. She shouldn't have blue hair, but whatever, she voted for Trump. He won half of Hispanics, the overwhelming majority of Hispanic men, the guy that they've been telling us is a racist for the last 9 years. If you knew one thing about Donald Trump from 2015 until Tuesday, it was that he was a racist, because they never stopped telling you that. And his numbers with Black voters went up. His numbers with Hispanic voters just crushed it. There's never seen anything like that. And so whatever else he is, he's not a racist, obviously. So I do think it's time for his opponents to recalibrate. I don't think any of this is actually about race or. I think most people are kind of tired of that. I think those were cul-de-sacs in the first place. I think they were, in fact, in some sense, psyops meant to distract us from what actually matters, which is economics and the things that matter, that change the course of history. And I think on both of those questions, the current administration, is reckless to the point of craziness. We're on the brink of. Why? Take a poll of Americans. How many Americans think it's worth risking to teach Putin a lesson? I mean, the whole thing's freaking nuts.
Our biggest issue is often apathy. Is if the people that could vote just actually voted, then Trump would win for sure. So a lot of it is I think convincing people who sometimes feel like the vote doesn't matter, or it's all rigged, or whatever, that actually the vote does matter.
Musk urged every citizen to see this election as the defining moment of their lifetime. A vote not just for policy, but for the soul of a nation.
And if there's any election in their lifetime that they're going to vote, they should vote in this one. This one, it really is a big deal. So, I really want to encourage people out there to this is a one-time ask. Just go out there and talk to your friends and family and acquaintances and people you meet on the street and convince them to vote. Obviously, you got to get registered, make sure they're registered, and make sure they vote. This is a big one. This is a really big one, and I've never said that before. So this one, you got to go all out. what I think, what I see is that there's like a tremendous amount of propaganda being pushed on kids in schools, and I think it's just messing with kids' heads. Anyone that goes through puberty, it's going to be an identity crisis. Going through puberty, it's normal kind of to have an identity crisis, really. And I think we should tell kids if you're confused, that's okay. It's coming of age. We shouldn't steer them in a particular direction or convince them of something that they're not. It's okay to go through an identity crisis. Everyone does. But I think what I see in schools is that they tend to send kids down paths that they wouldn't actually go down because they're being pushed down that way by the teachers, and by the propaganda that's pushed in the schools. I think we need to tell kids it's okay to live with uncertainty, that it's normal to have uncertainty, and it'll settle down over time, and and don't make any permanent decisions. Decisions that can't be reversed. So I think we definitely should not have any sort of sterilization of kids. Below 18, that's no good. There's an age of consent for a reason. And we don't let kids get tattoos until they're 18, and we don't. Alcohol is technically illegal until 21, although that's often observed in the breach. But we just want people to not make decisions when they're young that make them unhappy as an adult. That's really what it comes down to. And I think you want to say we want to optimize for people's long-term happiness. But that means making sure, like I said, that there are no irreversible changes during a kid when a kid has an identity crisis, which every kid has, and that's totally cool. And so my opinion is we should just tell kids when they're going through puberty and an identity crisis, that's totally normal, and don't get too stressed about it. And things will settle out how they settle out, and that's the right thing to do. I think what we'll see is a lot of censorship under the Kamala regime. Kamala is really she's just a puppet, frankly. If the teleprompter breaks, this doesn't know what to say. So I just call it the machine, the kind of big government machine, essentially. And you sort of have a face on the big government machine, and when the Biden puppet was not working out, they sort of got a new puppet. But it's still the same machine, obviously. And it's extremely undemocratic what was done.
It's pure hypocrisy, Elon reminds us, to call Trump a danger to democracy when the real danger lies in silencing voices like his.
It's bizarre and hypocritical to claim that Trump is somehow a danger to democracy when what happened with Biden being removed as the candidate was incredibly undemocratic. Yeah. So it doesn't make sense. But there's clearly a strong push for censorship under the guise of fighting disinformation. But really, disinformation is a propaganda word. It's not who's going to decide what's disinformation? The government? That's crazy, So yeah. So I think we'll see. This is this is why we have this petition in support of freedom of speech and right to bear arms. Is that it's under siege. It's being attacked. But really, we should have the free marketplace of ideas. People can propose an idea. They can, the people can discuss an idea, and they can make a statement. People can rebut that. You can have, this sort of the people can decide. I think it's far better for information to sort of bubble up from the voice of the people than to be decided by a handful of editors-in-chiefs of newspapers. A lot of the things I say, I feel like I'm just stating the obvious, but sometimes the obvious isn't what happens, or is that if America is not strong, if the West is not strong, then nothing else matters. The companies that I run, they don't matter. Basically, if America is the central pole holding up the tent that is Western civilization, and if that If that poll fails, nothing else matters. Nothing else matters. So, I've tried to encourage a lot of people in, business and technology to say like, hey, you just got to think long term. You don't even need to be altruistic. You just got to think long term and say, if America fails, what good is your business? It doesn't matter. So America must be strong, and the central pole that holds up the tent of Western civilization must be firm as an oak.